Welcome to this episode of Diverse Talk Matters.
To talk about different things around diversity, equity, and inclusion, talk about things that people may find challenges with, so we hope you find them really useful. Some are around people's different lived experiences, some are really challenging conversation, things that sometimes we don't need to talk about. But we really hope you enjoy the range of topics that we are introducing to you or bringing to you, to your homes, to your house, your workplaces. Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Diverse Talk Matters. We have enjoyed Sandra Pollock so much, we brought her back. So this is the second time Sandra's with us. Before, Sandra was talking all things around women and gender equality. And today we are talking about all things inclusive leadership. So for those of you who, how dare they, not listen to the last podcast, can you just tell people a little bit about yourself, Sandra, please?
Okay, so first of all, it is absolutely brilliant to be here again. Love your company. So spending time with you is always good. And okay, about me. In my work life, I have many hats, but in my work life hat that I wear, my focus is on leadership, management, people development. As a part of that, obviously, there's going to be diversity, inclusion, and all that sort of stuff. But really, my passion is supporting leaders, helping them to analyze where they are, look at their strategy and how they lead, because everything, in my opinion, starts with ourselves. So that's my area of expertise. In addition to that, if you haven't listened to the previous one, you need to go back to that, because you'll find out more about the other projects that I work on, like the Women's Awards. I do a lot of community work as well. I sit on a wide range of boards, charities, small organizations, national organizations. Currently one of the directors for Porsche Club of Great Britain. So I'm diversity and inclusion director there. But yeah, so I have many hats that I wear. And also I'm involved in the arts. I do poetry and all that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Wonderful. Not much then, Sandra, not much then.
Not much at all, yes. I've got some spare capacity.
You're not too busy. I mean, all of this, in a way, leads into what we're talking about because, like I said, predominantly you work with leaders anyway. Like you said, it starts yourself. Some people poo the idea, inclusive leadership or compassionate leadership. But evidence has shown us again, if you have inclusive approach doesn't mean you're a yes person. You can't be affirmed. You can't have difficult conversations, but it just means inclusive practice. It is evidence, isn't it, that it actually makes a huge difference to outcomes to teams. So if you had to define or describe inclusive or compassionate leadership, what would you say?
Inclusive and impassionate leadership. I guess the simplest way, and this is for me how I see it, it is heart-led leadership. And pretty much, what does that mean? It really means not forgetting and putting first the fact that we are dealing with human beings. And every single human being comes with different experiences, different cultural awarenesses, different trauma. And trauma comes from previous experience, different ideas, different skills, different ways of seeing the world. And I think that the issue that we have, that we need even to talk about inclusion and diversity and all that sort of stuff, is that we don't factor in our organizational strategic planning and day-to-day planning the fact that we are dealing with human beings. And I always say that human beings are the variable. You don't know 100%. Where they're going to rock up, how they're going to rock up this morning.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's heartfelt, because when we connect to our heart as human beings, then we remember that people are different, and that difference needs to be considered. So it's about being curious in your leadership about human beings. That's my interpretation.
Lovely. And like you say, it's one of the hardest things if you're in work is about being a leader or a manager. Because like you said, I love the way you said people can rock up. You don't know what people have experienced. They've come to you, they're there at whatever time they start, and they could have had all manner of things happening before they've got to you. And it's about getting to know your team, isn't it? It's about understanding your team. And managing people is the hardest thing ever. I really think being a leader and leading people and managing people do not give it enough credit. People have to work hard at
Yeah.
being that better. All of us, I bet you, even us, if
Yes.
we had to think back, do some reflection, we'd go, actually, no, that I
Yeah.
could be better at A, B, C, and D. Because it's all about how you develop, isn't it? But people
Absolutely.
sometimes see inclusion leadership, oh, you're being softer. No, it's still not being
Yeah.
soft, but it's actually understand, like you said, around cultural competence, understanding others so they can do their best work.
Yes, absolutely. And that is a continuous understanding. And it goes back to, unless we're prepared to be honest with ourselves about how we've spoken, how we speak to people, our behavior, how we've responded and reacted to something, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And that reflection, as you rightly said, is the only way that honesty is able to come in. So the curiosity I mentioned, curiosity about other people, but curiosity about yourself, curious honesty
Yeah.
about yourself. Yeah.
Because we have to
Yeah.
self-reflect. We don't do enough, do we?
No.
It's not very good. You will sometimes have leaders or managers where they are maybe criticizing one of their team and they're doing the same thing, or they're not a good role model. You're like, hello.
Yes.
I used to work with somebody
Yeah.
like that. And as
Yes.
you know, I'm a shy wallflower, Sandra. And somebody said to me, are you doing this? I'll go, I'll do it when you do it.
Yeah. Oh, good one. I'm sure that went down well.
Role
Yeah.
modeling, really important.
It is. And I was doing a training course yesterday morning around leadership and
Yeah.
organizational change and what leadership is. And it's a behavior.
Yes.
And it's an ongoing practice. It isn't something that you all of a sudden think, I've reached a pinnacle. I can
Exactly.
stop the effort now. It's leadership is a practice. It is, and it's an ongoing experience for the people around you. And one of the things I was saying yesterday is people listen to what you say, but they pay less attention to what you say. They pay much more attention to watching how you behave.
Exactly.
And so one of the instances we were talking about yesterday is if you, as a leader, you work really long hours. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
But if it's something you do all of the time, what are your team seeing? That if they don't work long hours, just like you do, they will not be considered. You're
Yeah.
firing off emails over the weekend all the time.
Yeah.
And people come in with a barrage of emails that have been sent at 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. What are you demonstrating to them? That your expectation, and you may not be saying this, but they're watching
Yeah.
your behavior.
Yeah.
That your expectation of them is that they put in unrealistic hours. So leadership is a practice. And the practice is focused on our behavior. We think it's focused on the strategy, the plans we made. Yes, that's the skeleton.
Yeah.
Those things are the skeleton of the organization. The muscle and the skin and all is how you behave and what culture you build around that skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culture is so important, isn't it? What are you creating healthy teams? What are you doing to get to know your teams? All that sort of stuff is so critical, isn't it? In terms.
Yeah, that is such an important point because actually, in my training, when I train managers, it's at that level of when you're a manager, because leadership and management is two different things. The focus is different, the expectations is different. But I think if people are trained properly at manager level, then what they need to step into and step up to at leadership level is not a stretch because you've got the foundations of how you should manage. And how you manage is about, as you rightly said, getting to know your team. You should know if someone's feeling off by just watching their behavior. You should be able to pick up what someone's skills and strengths are. You should know what their aspirations are. You should know what their triggers are. You should know all of those sorts of things, what they do well, what they don't do well, and why. I'm not saying you should get involved in all of their personal stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's just how are they in the working environment? And if you are trained at that level, at management level, then stepping up to leadership, I find that people have a much greater understanding of what it is to be a leader. But the downside is that people don't get trained properly at management level.
I say this
Yeah,
all the time. Like
yeah,
anybody, gosh, wouldn't the world be a better place if anybody used to become a manager and they have people management training, inclusive
yes,
leadership, inclusive management?
yes,
Because, like we know, so many people could be brilliant at their area of expertise, but it doesn't. People management and leading does not come naturally. And I
no,
think to some
no,
people, yeah, but not a lot of people. And I
no,
think it's
no,
such a trick that employers miss. They'll give, say, here your job, you've got a promotion, you're a manager, you're a
no.
senior manager, you're a director, whatever you are. And that
And you're
person,
expected, yeah, you're expected to know how to behave when your focus has been on tasks. And this is what I train a lot about. When it's just me turning up at work, my focus is on a particular task. That might be an admin task, or it might be a making widgets task, but it's task focused. When you step up then into management, your role is managing the people who are carrying out those tasks to focus and achieve particular things. How do you move from focusing on a task, which is a specialism, to managing people, which, as we said earlier on, are the variable. A machine is going to behave in a certain way most of the time,
yeah,
unless it needs servicing, unless it needs more oil, on that sort of stuff. People don't work that way.
yeah,
You know?
exactly. What I say,
So understanding the different personality types, the
absolutely,
different preferences of people, and understanding that, I always say, one of the things I say, you have why, where, when, how, who people. All right. I'm a why. If you ask me to do something, Natasha, the first thing that's going to come out of my mouth is why.
yeah,
Why?
yeah,
That has nothing to do with you.
yeah,
That's all about me. What do I need to put in place within myself in order to achieve what it is that you want?
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's those little things that are, if they're not taught at management level, when you get into leadership and Sandra steps up and say, why, you're going to think, oh, you're questioning my authority. No, I'm not.
yeah,
That's absolutely nothing to do with you. It's those little things that impact on effective leadership and inclusive leadership,
yeah.
because
I,
you don't understand people
yeah,
at that basic level.
I love that. As you're saying,
Yeah.
when I'm like, which one am I?
Yeah, which one are you?
Yeah, I'm thinking I might be just a when I'm for somebody who goes okay and gets on with it and asks questions we need. I think. As you were saying, I was like, oh, which one am I? And this is, I think that's a really good sort of template for people, because what I was going to say is, I would always say is, when I used to manage a lot of people, don't really manage much now. Like, how do people best communicated with? How do
Yeah.
you get what motivates you? What kind of get the, because for some people, like myself, I'd always be, just call me up. Don't send me an email.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Somebody would I'd rather you email me. So I've got all those sort
Mhm.
of things. It's finding out,
Yeah.
isn't it, the
Yeah.
best way? How people like to,
Absolutely. And that is basic management,
yeah,
Natasha.
yeah,
Basic management. We haven't even
100%.
stepped into leadership yet.
Yeah,
If you haven't got that foundational understanding,
yeah,
you are not going to be practiced at leadership
yeah,
from a curiosity perspective.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So what would you say to any budding leads out there then, in terms of what do they need to be considering to be a really good inclusive leader?
Know yourself.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's true though,
Know
isn't it?
yourself.
Yeah,
Know yourself. A simple thing, going back to what are triggers? All right. What are your triggers? Okay. It could be sometimes just the way people say some things that rub you up the wrong way. That's come from your previous experience
yeah,
somewhere. Okay. Know yourself. Know what areas you need to get more development
yes,
on. Okay. Know what areas you were good at. Know what areas you don't want to deal with. Okay, because again, as I was sharing yesterday with the group that I was working with, now I was saying, again, this is basic management training. What is your role as a manager to use all of your resources?
Yeah.
Okay, what resources? We've got money, we've got budgets, we've got people, we've got equipment, we've got location, buildings, blah, 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 all of those. So your goal is to know, and you've got yourself. People forget that. So what do you need to learn more about? Both yourself and the rest of your team. And how are you going to plan to make that happen?
Yeah.
And the difficulty is when people jump into leadership role, they think, I should know everything.
Exactly.
I have to know everything.
Nope.
And therefore I can't ask anybody. You've got a whole resource there that somebody, if you don't like admin, you wouldn't listen.
Yeah,
I came up in admin. I have no idea how I did it. Because it takes me so long to do admin.
Yeah.
It is better to find somebody else in my team who is better at admin and actually loves admin.
Yeah.
Okay, I've grown out of that. That's the only way I've grown out of that. So we were talking earlier on before we came on. I have someone, I love social media and I love doing social media. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
And again, it will take me so much longer to do it. So I have somebody to do that. So look in your team and actually see what people are gifted at and what people want to learn and use those as developmental tools. I've forgotten your question.
No, it's fine. Because, and I always say this, you cannot know everything. And it's okay, because some people feel they're in a leadership position and they can't say, I don't know. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's something, a core part of their job that they should know, I get it. But if it's something that is so much in a role, I love it if someone's better than me. I'm like, have at it, get on with it if you want to do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can't, and I would always say, oh, I'm not sure about that. I'll come back to you. Because you can't always, and some people have that thing, they can't let up that they don't know everything. You can't, and being a leader is not being perfect. None of us are. We're going to put a foot in it. We're going to make a mistake. We have to reflect and do all those type of things in a leader. Yeah. And people appreciate this. I remember doing a session with some senior managers and somebody said, oh, one time I spoke to somebody, I did something and I dealt with it not in the way that I should have. And on the next morning I came back and said to that person, you know what, I'm really sorry how I spoke yesterday and how that came to us. I'll reflect. I said, you know what, how that person would appreciate.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that shows.
And also it builds respect. It demonstrates accountability.
Yeah.
It demonstrates respect. Yeah. And it demonstrates humility.
Yeah.
And that person is going to see you completely different going forward. Definitely. And also it opens the door. That person may well feel that they can now come to you and say, do you know, the other day this happened or we said that. Exactly. I was thinking about it. And actually, so, you know, what you do, people follow.
100%. And it's building those relationships, isn't it? And I always say to leaders, is how you build a relationship is so critical, isn't it, in that development? Because if people believe in you, they trust you, they are going to be supportive of you when they need to support you.
Absolutely.
And I never forget, I also worked in another organisation where it was a really lovely, supportive organisation. And then a new senior manager turned up and was very high up and started being quite bullish, quite inappropriate. And then you think, and the whole senior team started to change. And so when you see good stuff and good behaviours, that domino effect. But when you see the bad behaviours, that also has a domino effect. And that's why it's so important as a leader. What are people seeing in you? Not perfection, but what are people seeing in you as how you approach situations? Because that good stuff you're teaching others to do the good stuff as well.
Yeah. So I'm going back to your question, what would I tell a young leader coming up? Step back. Be objective. Step back objectively and look and see how people are responding to you. Find out what's being said, if you can, when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
those sorts of things. But really be honest with yourself about the impact you're having and the impact you want. Now, some people do want that bullish, I'm coming in here and I'm in charge and nobody's going to tell me anything, blah, blah, blah. Be aware of the outcomes.
Exactly.
Is that really what you want to build? And if it isn't, then it comes back again to being aware, again, of self. What's your leadership practice? What's your leadership style? And understand that there are different leadership styles, and good leaders understand that. They know what they are, and they understand when different leadership styles or behaviors is required over. Okay, look, if someone rushes in here and says, oh, Sandra, someone's had an accident and their arm's hanging off and they're bleeding to death, we're not going to have a consultation about yourself. You need action. You get so understanding the different styles is hugely important. As a young leader coming up, learn about them, learn how to apply them, when to apply them, and when not to.
Yeah, definitely. And what would you say are the myths? Well, because these terms for people who don't get it, aren't in our world, what are those myths people have about inclusive leadership or compassionate leadership, do you think?
Oh gosh, there are so many. How much time have you got? So inclusive leadership is just about being nice to people.
Oh gosh.
Actually, there is some validation in that, because I do believe that if we were to treat people the way, anybody and everybody, the way we would want to be treated, inclusive leadership would be easier. Because how do I want to be treated? I want to know that I'm heard. Okay, I want to know that I'm seen. I want to know that I have an opportunity to share a different opinion, to make a suggestion, whether that is contrary to the status quo or not. I want to feel safe. So if I were to give and create all of that, some people might classify that as being nice. Okay, it would work. But for those people that, oh, we are nice here, it's a nice place to work, that is not even baseline. That isn't even start. That isn't even start. So what else? Diversity only matters to people who are not of a certain ethnic group. If we have a homogeneous group, we don't need to think about diversity. Yes. Who do you serve? Who does your organization serve on the broadest sense? So that's what else? Oh, that's for HR to consider. It's not a leadership
HR problem.
Yeah, that's an HR problem. It's not a leadership problem. HR need to sort that out. That's a myth. Treating everybody the same as is inclusion. What does that mean? Treating everybody the same. What is the same? I'm sure if we were to go home to our homes, our cultural, our neighborhoods, excuse me, you would find that we don't treat everybody the same.
Absolutely not.
Because there is no such thing as the same, in my view. But so these are some of the myths. If I don't see bias, it means it is not happening. I've not seen anybody behaving that way. Bias is not always out there in the open before your eyes. It happens quietly with the decisions and all of those sorts of things that you and I may not have access to. And the awarenesses of, we are a fast-paced organization. Bringing in diversity and inclusion stuff is just going to slow us down, and that's a lack of understanding of the impact and that you have people. And actually, when people feel heard, respected, they actually give more and work better.
100%.
Yeah. Some people don't start because they feel they haven't got all the answers. So until they have all of the answers, it's better not to do anything. And then people are so scared of doing it wrong, doing things wrong, making mistakes and all of that. If we go back to our smallest childhood experiences, was when we started learning to walk, maybe, if we are able to walk. But there was a point that we tried to walk, and what happened? We fell down. We got it wrong. And even some of those times when we are just, we'll fall down. So some people are scared of risk, scared to make a mistake. So they think, let's get it all sorted out before we even get started. So that's a myth. What else? What else? This is it. We did that event the other day. We did do something.
Oh, a little awareness
that's
event.
it.
Yeah, oh, please.
It's a one-time. It's a one-time thing. Or every year we do Black History Month, and every year we do
The International Women's Month, yeah.
International Women's Day. It's a one-time. We've done that recognition. That should be enough. Not realizing that actually inclusion is an ongoing practice.
Exactly.
It is a practice. What else? Oh, this is a good one. Oh, we don't want to talk about difference here because that just creates division. That just separates people. It doesn't bring people together. So people run away from that one. What else? I think not recognizing and not seeing the research and not reading the research about how impactful inclusion and diversity is, especially in an arena where people vote with their money, they vote with their time.
Yeah.
And if they do not see inclusion in organizations, people have stopped buying from organizations. So it's not just those people that work with you. Your customers are also looking at where do they spend their money. And people are, if they are looking for new opportunities, one of the things that come on the benefits now, and I think I wrote a post about this the other day, is realizing that people look at what is it like to work in this organization.
Absolutely. There's so much more scrutiny now. Whether it's for an employee, they're looking at what's it like to work there. Get an old Glassdoor, see what it's like, see what the feedback is. Then they want to know. And also where you said people spend their money, I think a lot of people more are looking, are they ethical? Are they a moral organisation? Are they, do they value inclusion? All those types of things. People, even where, money, obviously, we're in this flipping climate, and money's not stretching as it used to, but a lot more people are looking at what is the balance there? What is the benefits? What's it like to work there? Rather than it's just about the money now. Some people know everybody's the same, but there's a lot more interest in how it's going to work for them, and people more like to leave now as well. Years ago, back in our day, Sandra, people used to stay in a job for years. You know what I mean? Job for life, that is. Job for life. Now, people are like, no, it's not good for me. I'm moving on.
Yeah. And that's really interesting because nowadays, if you stay in a job 3 to 5 years, there's this question. There's more of it. It's really flipped, isn't it? It's like there's this question, why? There's nothing wrong with that. And I would prefer to have somebody in a job that loves what they're doing, is doing well, feels safe, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So there's that side of it. But it really has flipped because people they want a better quality of life. It's funny, my daughter, when she was looking for work years ago, and she only wanted part-time because she's an artist as well. She wants to have some time to do her art.
Yeah.
And she was going for this job that was 16 hours. And she had an interview and everything. And they said, what else do you do? So bless her, she was like, yes, I do. I'm an artist. I draw, I write, blah. And you know what she said? They said to her, oh, you'll have to stop that.
No.
They're only giving her 16 hours work, but she has to be available. That doesn't, that obviously at that point, she was not interested.
Goodbye.
Good job. So people they want better quality of life. And even we think men, I know, again, generalization, and I always said, but from my conversations with clients, men want to be available for their family.
Definitely.
Even if they don't have children, they want to spend time with their partners.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. Life has changed.
Yeah.
And we need to change with it as leaders.
No, 100%. Yeah. And we alluded to this, and my question was, in terms of when there's uncertainty or there's change or there's difficult times, how do you think that inclusive leadership supports that?
So this is a good one. I remember when we had the lockdown, for example, which was a critical time for organizations everywhere, across the world, the UK, everywhere. And I had a lot of my clients calling up to say the lockdown, also George Floyd's murder, and various other similar things that sort of went on over the last few years. And I had clients asking, Sandra, I don't know, what do I do as a leader? And it's about really sitting down as a board, as a team, and discussing what, understanding that your employees are experiencing the same thing you're experiencing. Your customers and clients are experiencing the same thing. So if it is like it's a big thing like that, what are you saying? What, instead of, some people just, oh no, we can't talk about it, it'll cause more problems. No, step forward and say, this is our stance. This is as an organization or as a leader, this is our stance. And actually, in most of those, if not all of those situations, the stance was no different from what it was before these crisis situations arose. So if it hasn't changed, what you do is to reiterate this as an organization is our position.
Yeah.
It has been such and such, and it will continue to be such and such. Obviously, if things change, but we will come back to you and let you know. And that really is all people want to know. That's all staff want to say. If it has changed, for example, as I refer to it, across the pond, when across the pond made certain DEI decisions, then organizations that worked with the USA had to review, and in many cases changed how they responded to that because they're working with that. So if that changed for those groups of staff, then you need to let them know where you stand, what they can expect, etc. So it's face up to it. Sit down together, think about where you are as a board, as an executive team, and talk to your people. That helps the leaders that then have to go back to their departments and the managers who have to manage teams to know, what do I say? What is the right thing to say in this situation? Instead of leading, what's that word? Ghosting.
Ghosting
the situation.
Because I find that sadly, too many leaders, that's just too much of a sweeping statement. I have people coming to me, or when I'm, same as you, talking to clients, and they are too scared to have those conversations. And I'm like, okay, if you're too scared, how do you think your team feel? Do your team feel they can trust you? Do the team feel you've got their back? Do the team feel you're supporting? If you've got so many things going on in the world every day, I say in all these podcasts, I'm scared to get up in the morning because there's always something happening that's awful. So all those have impacts. I think we mentioned it last, whether it's generational trauma, it's bringing things up for people, it's triggered something, it's just generally just lots of bad things going on. As a leader, if you are not acknowledging that, that's going to have negative impacts on your team.
Absolutely.
And wanting to be there, wanting to do the work.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Faye, and maybe the simplest thing, this goes back to this idea that as a leader, I should have all the answers. That's not correct. As a leader, you should be curious and using your resources, or open to your resources, particularly if we're talking about people. So what I encourage some of my clients to do is to just have a meeting. Let's talk about, what are you experiencing? And the meeting is not about finding solutions for people. It's about creating a safe, open space where people can say, do you know what? I was affected by this, like this, and this is my concern, or this is my worry. And be honest to say, this is just an open forum for conversation so that we can connect as human beings. Okay, we may not find all the answers, but what I can do is to take back some of your questions, and to the rest of the team, and we can talk about, or have all of your senior team there, but share as well. When a senior leader says, do you know what? When this happened to me, I was or when I saw this, or when I read this, I was angry, I was shocked, I was all of those things. It brings everybody on a human level. And then we can talk about, people will always stop and wait for the most senior person to speak first. And in those sort of crisis situations, that's what's required to lead the way. In some other situations, it is better that the leader talks last, but encourages other people to speak up. So it's understanding when is the right time. But in crisis situations, talk about where you were at as a leader.
Definitely. And this sort of links into two questions I've got. One was around psychological safety, because what a lot you're alluding to, and there's a lot of talk, rightly, and I keep saying this wherever I'm going, so apologies if you've heard this before, because those people who are listening, because a lot of people talk about psychological safety, oh yeah, in their policies and their procedures, but actually they do not have that, they do not really know what it means, and it's not really psychologically safe for everyone. So
it's the nice words, but I come back to, we started out with, leadership is a practice. It isn't a title. It isn't a name on a door. It is a practice. So if you are not cognizant of your practice, that isn't true leadership. And it's the same with psychological safety. So what does it mean? So we can have, that people, psychologists say, people feel safe to talk. They feel safe to raise a question. They feel safe to talk about maybe doing something different or questioning a suggestion or showing. All of that is that they feel safe. This term, bring my whole self to work. I've never been anywhere where my whole self isn't, so I don't quite.
I thought you were going to say the whole self was, then I was about to say, oh.
Understand what that means, but in other words, what it means is, can I talk about my cultural differences? Can I talk about what we do on a weekend, what's necessary, what our rituals are, all of those sorts of stuff without being judged and questioned and that sort of stuff. How does that appear in practice, in day-to-day? Can you demonstrate to me some examples of how this is being done, when it's being done? And not only your say so, but the rest of your staff say so. What experience or experiences are they having of psychological safety? What does it mean to them? And until you connect these lovely words and lovely sentences to behaviors, practice in the workplace, you cannot demonstrate psychological safety. What does the data say in relation to the experience of psychological safety? And it's your job as a leader to connect those two together so that you can evidence all of these lovely words and phrases.
Because it's bandied about and people say, oh yeah, it's really important to us. I'll go, how do you know? And it's true. It's one of those words that is often said. Sometimes there's an organisation I work with someone, they go, I love inclusion, I'm really inclusive. Really, let's be, someone in my head thinking, I'll be the judge of that, let's see what's going on. But you know what I mean? Because you think, people like to use those words, but actually don't go underneath and what it means for people. The other thing
and this is really interesting, and I'm going to say it because sometimes as a Black professional in this field, sometimes people feel they have to say certain things. No, you don't. You just have to demonstrate it. You just I'm not interested in you saying it. I want to see it.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's say and get on with it and do the work. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And also on that note, we know sadly, and again, we're always based on evidence, aren't we, Sandra? Evidence will tell us if you're from an underrepresented group, you may have less of a voice. You may be less satisfied because the culture is not that values you know who you are. So where do you think inclusive leadership comes in there in terms of understanding and listening to marginalised voices or people that aren't always heard?
So nowadays, with most good organisations, they have set up groups, network groups within organizations that are and should be set up to hear the voices of marginalized, racialized, staff within organizations. And we know sometimes some organizations may not consider that they're big enough, or some may not consider that they have enough staff to have separate groups. So where that is not the case, there's not an excuse of not having a network group where people can speak honestly and raise issues, and where you can ask the questions about people's lived experience in the workplace. So it is, I was thinking about this morning and thinking that the networks are great.
Yeah.
That's step one. But are they funded? Do they have representation at board level and senior executive level? Is the success and effectiveness of these network groups and the goals set with and by them, achievement of those goals attached to executive leaders' salary? Because only when something hits people's pockets directly, humans, this is what we're like, does it become important enough. Until an organization is putting money towards the change that they say they want to bring about, it really does not have the effectiveness and the power and the impact and the importance within the strategy. It should be within the strategy as well. Every single, the overall strategy, the department strategy, team strategy, there should be no place that it is not.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are the things that need to be seen ongoing for inclusion to be really taken seriously within an organization, and to demonstrate to staff and our customers and clients that we are serious about inclusion, so much so that it's impacted, it's involved, it's written into, and it's demonstrated in everything that we're doing.
Lovely. Two things you said there, brilliant. So definitely networks are really good, all the things you said. And I would also say to make sure it's got really strong governance and terms of reference and all of that, so it's clear what the role is. But also, if anybody wants to find out more about networks, we do have a podcast purely just on that with Sharon, who set up Staff Networks Day and has written a book on it and all that fabulous. You want to know more. And then also 100% what you were saying in terms of, I love the fact if it's linked to what they should be doing or their pay, oh my gosh, they'll be doing it. So anybody out there who's a leader or an employer or senior management, have your leaders got actions, their PDRs, are they actually linked to team developing healthy team cultures or psychological safety? Do they have targets around that? Because all that's a real different. And also the dreaded, I shouldn't say dreaded, because I think it's a good thing, like a 360, a leadership having 360 reviews. Those of you who are listening who don't know, you think, what's she talking about? It's where you get feedback on your leadership from everybody around you. So it could be people on the same level, people higher, people you report to you. And honestly, it can be quite scary, but it can. But for people,
and that is why, again, when people are risk averse, they don't want to do stuff like that. Even on the simplest thing, and I manage people, and we will have some times where we actually sit down and I say, okay, so we've been working together for a while. How is this working for you? What are the things that I might do that you don't like? How can I change that? And what are some of the things that I might do that you do? Maybe I can do more of that. Definitely. Usually it's the other way round. We are asking these questions about our staff member. But if we ask and create the look, you have my word, I'll put it in writing, whatever you need, that you will not get any negative retaliation from being honest with me. Why? Because as a leader, I want to grow. I have a responsibility to you and to myself to become more aware and to grow. And so even if you are not ready to do the 360, I think you should. But even if you're not, just start with those questions.
It's like getting the feedback. Just get feedback from who's around you, whether it's formal or informal, and you catch ups, one-to-ones, whatever. And please make sure you're doing one-to-ones and formal and informal.
Some people
Oh,
don't.
and then they wonder why there's problems. So anybody out there,
Yes.
those catch-ups, those one-to-ones, those feedbacks, like I said, can be formal, informal, will help you no end. Because if there's anything worse, again, I worked with an organisation once, and they said they were in like an open plan office, and they said, oh, they didn't do one-to-ones, didn't do catch-ups, formal and informal. I said, okay then. So when do you meet with your team? Literally, it was only for we've got a project on, or when I'm
Yeah.
telling them off. They didn't say telling them
Yeah.
off, but they said when they've got. And I
Yes.
said,
Yeah. Yeah.
what message are you giving doing that? What
Yeah.
relationships are you building?
Yeah.
No wonder there's
Yes.
problems. And one actually said, you know what, I've noticed I walk into the office in open plan and I don't speak to anyone. And I was like, what message, what role modeling is that?
But this is basic management
I know.
behaviors.
Oh, I know, honestly.
Basic management
And then you wonder
behaviors.
why. And this is why we have these challenges, don't we? And there are sometimes with people then hopefully then sadly make complaints about leads and things like that.
Yes.
Another thing I know you're really passionate about and you do and brilliant, which I think is all leaders should have this, coaching.
Coaching. Yes.
So tell
Coaching.
us about, because I think it's so valuable to any leader to have coaching, and it's a real powerful tool. So tell us about how coaching and leadership links and what you think about that.
I think coaching comes into play when people get to a certain level. Before that, and I'm not saying that senior level leaders shouldn't have training, but training is sharing information, okay, passing of knowledge, and it should include the expectation of behavior change and all of that sort of stuff. When you get to senior leaders, the level of decision making and the impact of your decision is so broad and so deep across the business that training doesn't get it for you, because at that stage you are about really delving into what your issues are as a leader and what the impact is on your behavior, on how people see your behavior, but also on how effectively you can deliver the change that you want to deliver. Saying all of that, coaching is important because it is performance focused. So people get mixed up with mentoring and leadership.
Yeah.
Mentoring and coaching. Yeah. But coaching is performance. So if you've got a particular thing that you have to deal with, one of the simple ones is, hopefully at this level you should know how to do this already, but you've got to give a presentation, or you've got to prepare for some, and you are struggling to do that. Coaching will help you to get clarity. Coaching is good for clarity, will help you get clarity. It will help you address some of the issues that you might be experiencing, that hesitation, that it helps you with the how-to. It helps you with the changing of the mindset from where you are now to where you need to be in order to deliver that specific thing that you want to deliver. It's more about clarity and performance and that sort of stuff. At that level, you've got to be on top of your performance. You've got to be aware of yourself, and you have to have clarity in terms of the simplest stuff is, what do you want to achieve by doing this one thing? And also, coaching is a very safe space for leaders at that level, because you might not want to talk to your counterpart, other director or board, about the issues or insecurities you might be experiencing with yourself. So you can have that with a coach who will not only help you to look at what you've done before, whether it's worked, why it's not worked, what's your responsibility in whether it worked or not, but also it's a safe space for you to be honest with yourself. So coaching helps you to challenge yourself, be honest with yourself. Your coach, if he or she is a good coach, will challenge some of the things that you are presenting to yourself. So a coach is a good sounding board, a good reflector on who you are and where you are. And it really, if you do research, you will find that all of the top 50, 100 organizations have a coach. And you can have coaches for different things.
Yeah.
One coach may not be able to cover everything that you need, but because coaches specialize, I'm leadership and management, people development. So it's having that person who is there for you, who you can be totally honest with, and all their interest is on your success and achievement on this particular thing. So yeah, that's some of it. There's obviously coaching we could go on, but in terms of what people can get out of it, it is developmental, but it's also future focused. So it's about taking you forward from where you are today and helping you to find a way that works specifically for you. Yeah, hope that.
No, that's cool. That. And listen, we could do a whole thing just on a podcast just on coaching, couldn't we? And I think that this is where, and I know that people haven't got endless money, that people should invest in that coaching, because investing in leadership the outcome will be better in the end. You may think, God, I'm paying out all this but for coaching, will keep on target, keep on tracking their job, keep on top of the game, manage their team effectively, lead their teams. I would also urge, and if you want to add anything about anybody listening here, please do invest in your leaders, whether it's coaching and or other development, because it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was saying coaching is about helping you with your clarity about yourself or whatever you're looking at, challenging your assumptions, because sometimes at that level you're making certain assumptions. So you want a safe space where those assumptions can be challenged. And organizations should be providing these safe space. Coaching helps you unlock your thinking. We all get stuck in certain areas, and that challenge will help unlock that. It helps you with focusing on your accountability for your decision making and the impact. And it's also about action. It's not just about ideas. Okay, so what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? So what am I saying in all of that with regard to the organization? Coaching, there are two ways about this. Let's go back to human beings. Sometimes we don't want people to know what we need. So invest in your own development. Coaching is a self-development tool for you. But again, we're looking at inclusion and how do we get the best out of people. So I was talking about coaching at a senior level, but you know what? Sometimes when you have people who may not be there yet, but they've got potential, coaching for those potential. Oh my goodness. It can fire up people in such a way.
Empower them. Yeah, because that's all they need sometimes.
Yeah. So if you're talking about how do you get people out of that, I don't have the confidence, I'm scared, all of that, coaching. So give people coaching, invest in coaching, consider it as important as you would training. And as you would mentoring. Coaching and mentoring are not the same.
No, absolutely.
They produce different things. Their focus is different. So I would say if an organization wants to help their people really thrive, put coaching in and fund that coaching. That is another way of saying to people, we see you as unique and special, and we want to provide for you in this particular way. And what you'll get out of investing in people through coaching, I tell you what, they will give far more than you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I've seen it so many times where organizations have come back to me and they say, oh my God, Sandra, what did you say to this person? What did you do? They are like a completely different person. And they've come up with ideas. They've stepped forward. They're speaking more. They're sharing more. They're asking questions. It changes people's outlook on themselves and the possibilities of what they can achieve.
Definitely. Thank you for that passionate discussion there around coach. You can tell you're a passionate coach.
My favourite things, yes.
So
it's because you see the change. It is so evident. Good coaching is not about telling people what to do. Okay. Good coaching is about helping people delve into the best thing I can say. It's like an onion. And we know onions are layered and layered. So good coaching is about helping people unlayer themselves. And when they discover who they really are and what they can really do, there is absolutely no stopping them.
Love it. Thank you. Get your coaching, people. Anyway, what would you say? What just means that people can take away? So if people are now reflecting, having to listen or watching this going, oh, is there anything I can do? What is one single practice that leaders can start today to be more inclusive?
The first thing that's come to my mind is listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Create spaces where people can talk to you honestly, openly. Your job is to listen. Information is power.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is if you know where people are at, what's concerning them, what ideas they have, if they have a safe space, that is going to, again, empower them to know that they are heard, they're seen, and they're valued. So the simplest way, when, hopefully everybody has meetings, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
But in your meetings, usually our meetings are about, I'm here to tell you this and this. All right, fine, have that meeting, but have another meeting where I'm here to listen.
Yeah. Love that.
That's some of the simplest things, and then follow that up with any agreed action. Even if it's to come back and say, do you know what? I know we said we wanted this, but we're unable to do that now because of A, B, and C. It might be on the shelf for another 6 months or whatever. It's just about honesty. So listen.
Yeah. Brilliant. I think that's a brilliant way to come to the end, because that is a simple but effective thing you can do. And like you said, do the follow-up. So don't listen at that point. If there's thing that needs to be discussed and actioned, do that action, because that also supports people having confidence and trust in you as a leader as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for talking all things inclusively. Again, I know when I do all these my guests, I think, you know what, we could have chatted for so much longer, but like to keep it to around an hour-ish so people can listen, maybe when they're driving or at work or whatever. Anything else? I ask if anybody's got anything else they think they want to say they haven't had an opportunity to say around inclusive leadership today. Anything you want to add you haven't had the opportunity to?
That'd be another hour.
I know. I like to ask just to check.
That'd be another hour, because you know how passionate I am, and I know you are as well about this. But look, if you don't know, ask.
Yes.
And there's you, there's me, there are lots of other really good people out there. Ask, but value their contribution.
Definitely. Wonderful.
Value.
And just for those people who, like I said, if they haven't listened to the one, they're going to, but just let people know if they wanted to contact you, how they can get hold of you.
Okay. Yeah. I have a few websites. I have the simplest one to remember is sandrapollock.com. So you can find me there. You can also find me at openmindcoaching.com. That's another website. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Those are the main channels in terms of social media. But
lovely.
Reach out.
Thank you so much, Sandra. It's been fabulous. And everybody, I hope you have enjoyed our chat. Remember to click and subscribe. I always forget to say that. Click and subscribe, people. If you like what you listen to, do subscribe to Diverse Talk Matters. And thanks again, Sandra, and everybody.
It's been a pleasure.
Till we see you again. So thanks, everybody. Whatever you do, have a fabulous rest of your day. And we'll leave you until next time.
Okay.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. Keep up to date with everything Diverse Matters and everything in the world of diversity, equity and inclusion. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and Threads.